What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F122 My Team Career Mode. Last time out, we were at the USA Grand Prix, and despite a poor qualifying performance, qualifying only down in 13th, we did manage to fight our way back through the field up into 3rd, and we minimised the damage that Albon did to how far we were trailing him in the championship. He only got 2nd in that race, so he outscored us by 3 points, but still, with only 4 races to go in this championship, things are looking pretty desperate for us as we get into the Mexican Grand Prix. I'm sure I'll show you the standings at some point, but as things stand, Alex Albon is leading the championship by 53 points, and we've only got 4 race weekends to go. One of those is a sprint weekend, but still, there is going to be a lot of work we have to do to try and catch Alex Albon in the championship. It might not even be possible anymore. I think that we would need him to have an incredibly bad run of form to have any chance of getting back into the championship whatsoever. And yeah, we might have to settle for second best this season. And if that is the case, then obviously all I want to do is just consolidate this this P2 finish in the championship. Yeah, there's the gap confirmed, 53. We've already picked up the Constructors' Trophy. We now can't be beaten, but there is still an interesting fight going on for P2. Red Bull and Ferrari currently tied on points, and McLaren trailing a little bit, but not out of the fight necessarily. And yeah, we bumped the difficulty down, as we always do if we lose a rivalry, so we're now playing on 87 difficulty, and we'll see what we can do when we get into the practice session for the Mexican Grand Prix. I'll be interested to see what kind of pace we show in practice here, because we're usually pretty fast around here, but yeah, I mean, it honestly just depends on a number of factors. That is one of the Alfa Romeos, I think, of Teo Pourchaire, but I'm not sure which one it is. Could be Drogovic. And yeah, we weren't even in the top 14 actually in practice. I did do a soft run, but it wasn't very good. So yeah, I'm looking to hopefully find a bit of improvement off of the pace I was showing in practice. It wasn't amazing, but we actually did have all right pace on the medium tyres. So whilst it might look bad because we weren't even top 14 there, it actually wasn't so bad in the end for us, and yeah, definitely shades of us showing that we do have the pace to hopefully fight at the front in both qualifying and the race. I think the target here once again is going to be qualifying on the front row. I think that's got to be the minimum really for all of these qualifying sessions at this stage if we want to have any chance of picking up those wins. You know, we won from 2nd in Japan a couple races ago, and that is a result that definitely was pointing us in the right direction, but then things came crashing back down to earth as we struggled in that wet qualifying session in the USA, and that kind of put us on the back foot for the whole weekend. But now there's no rain expected for qualifying or the race, and so hopefully I can just showcase my maximum potential here to hopefully get pole, but a P2 at the very least. We do our first run on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, and it is a 1:15.6, which is good enough for 2nd and actually faster than Albon at the time. So I believe what I end up doing is going out on the same set of tyres again, and I actually managed to find a little bit of improvement. Despite the fact we were running in P10, yeah, I managed to find just over a 10th worth of improvement on the same set of tyres, which is pretty nice. Shows that these softs do last for a little bit around here, and yeah, we're through to Q3. No real issues in P8, and yeah, Albon there in P7 as well. So not too bad in the end. Yeah, we neither of us particularly close to the top runners here. A couple, like about 4 tenths away almost. But yeah, nothing too bad at all. I think Russell actually got eliminated in Q1 there again, but I might be wrong about that. Actually, no, he didn't. I saw him at the top of the thing. What am I talking about? I don't think there was any random exits in Q1 there that you wouldn't expect. But you know, in Q2, there's always at least 1 or 2 that perhaps come to as a little bit of a surprise if you're not expecting them. We do a 1:15.5 on a fresh set of softs, so a little bit better than our run on a fresh set of softs last time, but definitely some room for improvement over this time once again, but we'll see. And yeah, it does seem like once again this time is good enough to get us through with no real issues. Looks like we're going to be P6, by the looks of things. And as we cross the line, indeed, we are going to stay in that position. We didn't make any improvements, so yeah, P6 as we make our way into Q3, and hopefully, you know, in P8 and P6 so far, so hopefully we can find a lot more improvement in Q3. But yeah, some big shock exits here, I would say. Both Ferraris out, Gasly not making it through either. It's just both Jaguars, both McLarens, Verstappen and Russell, and then both Haas's making it through, as well as a few other surprise packages as well. So yeah, really unpredictable qualifying session. I really wouldn't have expected both Haas's to make it through. That car's not that great at the moment, but yeah, they did manage to do it, so respect to them. And now we have 2 sets of fresh soft compound tyres to fight in Q3 with, and you can see that my first run is 5 thousandths of a second off of pole position that Lando Norris did. So if I can find just a teeny bit more improvement, then I think we should be okay. And right now, as we move into Sector 3 on our final lap on another fresh set of softs, we had 2 remaining for this session. You can see that we are up by quite a substantial margin, over 3/10 at this point, and that is more than we need. We only need 5 thousandths of a second. I think we're going to comfortably have that as we round the final corner. I do lose a little bit of time, but it's not going to put a spanner in the works, and we cross the line to take pole position. We dip into the 114s just about, and we were the only car to do so all qualifying. And you've got to be pretty satisfied with that, I would say.
Before we begin, let's have a quick look at those who'll be fronting the grid. Robinson, Norris, and Yuki Tsunoda. With qualifying wrapped up now, we have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
A fantastic race, I hope it will be indeed. All we need to do now is get a good run from the start. Hopefully not get jumped on the start by anyone around us. Albon only in P6 as well, so this does actually present us with a bit of an opportunity to hopefully outscore him. I'm sure he'll probably cut his way through the field to the podium. He always does, but still, if we can take a chunk of points out of him now, you know, it puts the threat of unreliability ever closer to becoming a reality for him, you know what I mean? He's only had 1 DNF this season so far, I think, whereas I've had 2 or 3, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, not that I think that we always necessarily get an equal number of DNFs, but I'm just saying, like, now would be a good time for me to get back at him in the championship if he did have some reliability or something like that, unreliability or something like that. So, yeah, you never know. If I can take a big chunk of points out of him now, then we could still potentially be in the fight. But man, this guy is something else on his day. I think, you know, like I said, we just need luck or something like that to beat him, and that's about the only chance that I think we're going to have of getting at him in this championship. But let's see what we can do as we get into the Mexican Grand Prix.
Welcome to Mexico City, the most popular city in North America, and home, of course, to the Mexico City Grand Prix. It's a sellout crowd as usual here at one of the shortest circuits on the Formula One calendar. And who, I wonder, will they be cheering on the top step of today's podium? The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 2.6 miles of track that allows drivers to take full advantage of their cars, reaching speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour. And providing lots of opportunities for overtaking. The circuit features 17 corners, 10 to the right, and the remaining 7 going to the left. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Robinson lines up on pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Felipe Drugovich, and Mick Schumacher. Russell, Verstappen, Schwartzman and Charles Leclerc, Sainz, Stroll, Enzo Fittipaldi and Lundgaard, Gasly, Albon, Teo Pourchaire and Oscar Piastri, Ocon, Magnussen, Latifi and Guan Yu Zhou. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Okay, we need a good result today if we want to catch Albon in the Drivers' Championship.
This is huge. Alex Albon has taken a grid penalty, 10-place grid penalty, and he is starting in P16. Even if he does have a pretty good drive, I would say he's probably only getting back into the minor points places. And so we have a real opportunity here to make up 20 or more points on him in the championship, I would say. You know, I really think that this is going to be a do or die kind of race for us. If we don't win this, this would be a completely wasted opportunity. It would be kind of like that Italian Grand Prix where he DNF'd and I only got P6. That was a wasted opportunity in my opinion, because we could have made up a lot more points on him in the championship. We get a poor parking, we slightly overshoot the grid spot, and so yeah, we get reset, which means it's going to be slightly harder, but we are starting on the soft compound tyres, so we'll see what we can do as the lights come on. And the lights go out, and we do unsurprisingly get away well compared to Lando Norris because we are on that better compound of tyre. You can see we are already a whole car length in front of him. But the car I'm more concerned about at the moment is that of Yuki Tsunoda, who has had a good start and is no doubt piling pressure on me. But fortunately, he's going wheel to wheel with Lando Norris and had absolutely nowhere to go into turn 1 and had no choice but to settle for P3 at the moment. Dragovic up into 4th already. He's had a fantastic start, and he's looking good to potentially you know, get a top 5 finish in Formula 1, which would be a remarkable result for him if he can stay where he is. But he's coming under pressure from Ricciardo, and actually no, he manages to get ahead of Tsunoda there. You can see he's moved his way up into P3, and Dragovic, as things stand at the moment, there's still a long way to go, is looking like he might get a podium finish in Formula 1, but let's not count our chickens before they've hatched, shall we? Yeah, we'll keep moving through this race. We get a track limits warning already, so that's not great, and we are coming under pressure from Lando Norris behind, who I think is going to challenge us down into this next corner, but he's not quite far enough alongside me to think about a move around the outside, especially when I'm on the superior compound of tyre. Yes, these tyres are going to go off quite quickly, and I imagine we'll have to do a lot of defending towards the end of the stint, but as things stand, I'm pretty optimistic that we can hold off Norris at least for the first few laps of this stint before they really start wearing down compared to the medium compound of tyres. So yeah, this has been a good start. You can see that the nearest car behind Norris is a whole 3 seconds down on me, and yeah, I'm looking pretty good for at least a P2 no matter what happens here, I think. But as always in Formula 1, things are never too far away from randomly changing. This is Albon putting pressure on my teammate putting pressure on Enzo Fittipaldi, who makes a mistake there and is subsequently out of the Grand Prix, and I'd be very shocked if that wasn't a safety car. Massive incident for my former teammate Fittipaldi there, and indeed that is the deployment of a safety car. So now we have a big decision to make. I have pitted from the lead of a Mexican Grand Prix before when there's been a safety car on lap 6, but this is 2 laps earlier, and do I think I want to do 32 laps on a set of hard compound tyres? This is a decision I do not have very long to make whatsoever, but I have a look at the gap to Albon. He's 15 seconds behind at the moment, and in the end I decide I think it will be worth it, and we're gonna pit for the only time in this race on lap 4 and hope that we can stay within a pit stop's range to Lando Norris post safety car. This is either a incredibly stupid call or an incredibly intelligent call. It's just a gamble, basically. If it works out, I look like a god, and if it doesn't work out, I look like a complete idiot who just threw away the lead of the Grand Prix. So yeah, I really don't know. I think it's going to be entirely dependent on how good I am at overtaking the cars in front of me. Tsunoda goes onto the medium, so I just have to double check to make sure that he is pitting again, and indeed he is. So yeah, it's interesting because actually Dragovic again, I think, is putting himself in with a chance of getting a podium there because he's gone onto the hards too. But here we are, looking at myself putting a bit of pressure there on Théo Pourchaire, my former teammate, in front of me, and I think we might dive down the inside of him into turn 1. We'll have a look, and indeed we do. Are we going to make the move stick? We went very deep there, but we do just about hold on to that position, and that is up 1 position, and yeah, hopefully hopefully we can continue making our way through the field. But it's been a couple laps since that safety car restart, and we haven't made any progress just yet. These guys on the softs are still showing pretty good pace, so I'm going to need to try and cut through them quite quickly. We look at maybe going around the outside of Joe there, and then sneak up the inside at the following corner. And I mean, that's the kind of overtake you have to make. You have to be decisive and just send it at some of these corners. And now we're going to try and put some pressure on Nicholas Latifi. I go a little bit wide onto the grass there, but we don't lose our momentum on him too much. We got good pace, and I think we're going to try and go for a similar move to the one we just went for on Joe. And indeed, you can see that we are up into I think this is P15 now on track, but I'm not sure where it'll be exactly. Oh no, it's P14. My mistake. And yeah, now as we're on lap 12, we're going to try and put some pressure on Esteban Ocon, the podium hero from Monaco. We do just about manage to make it stick once again. We really like overtaking in that spot. It seems to be working out quite well for us. Made 3 separate overtakes there on by this point, and there's a few cars in front of us pit now. We've caught up to the back of Kevin Magnussen. We're in the top 10 once again, but I don't know what the gap to Norris is, and I'm getting a little bit worried that it might be extending a little bit too far, and maybe he might have been on the correct strategy this whole time. I guess we'll find out when a few more cars in front pit. We're up ahead of Magnussen now in P9, but I don't think we're going to get ahead of any more cars before the pit stop phase. And indeed, you can see that some of the cars are coming in to pit in front of me now, including my teammate Albon and the other McLaren of Ricciardo and Gasly. And this is when I find out that Norris is 13 seconds up the road from me, which means I had absolutely nothing to worry about, because that is more than a pit stop by quite a comfortable margin. I would say that actually Norris at this stage might even come out behind Felipe Drugovich. There's about 20 seconds between them, and I think that's about how long a pit stop is. So we'll see where Norris does come out at the end of his pit stop now. But yeah, this could be Drugovich going into net P2 in the race, because Tsunoda still needs to stop again. And so I'm going to be very curious to see what happens here. Tsunoda moves into P2 for now, but obviously, like I said, he's got another stop. Was not on the right strategy with the safety car. I'd say the 2-stop doesn't really work out in his favour, just kind of puts him to the back of the grid. But yeah, we are comfortably ahead of Norris for the time being. He did come out ahead of Drugovich in the end, and this is my teammate Alex Albon now putting pressure on one of the AlphaTauris, but he is around and into the wall, and his car is actually, he's lost his tyre. So that's the end of the race for Albon. Oh my god, this is massive. This is massive. This means that we have an opportunity to extend 25 points on him in the championship. However, there is a safety car, and so one thing that he may have done is screwed me, because I now, this whole strategy that I went on that put me 9 seconds in front of Lando Norris was all for nothing, because he's going to catch right up to the back of me. This is probably the worst thing that could have happened. Now we have to try and defend from Norris and Drugovich, and also Verstappen, who's on a set of medium compound tyres to the end. All of these guys are a potential threat to my win in this race. So yeah, we're going to have to really try and push hard to keep them behind. The safety car is restarting, or sorry, the race is restarting now, and yeah, we actually don't get that good of a getaway compared to Lando Norris. He seemed to know before I did. I guess just a lucky guess on his behalf. But he's closing me down quite a lot as we come on the run down to the first corner. It's a long run as well, so I think he's going to be piling some pressure on me. Defending to the inside, he's going to try and go around the outside, but I just about cover him off. We got a little bit deep. Is he going to try and switch back on me? I thought he might have been for a second there, but he thinks better of it. And there's another yellow flag. I don't know who that's for. I imagine we'll find out in just a moment. But yeah, that is kind of saved my bacon a little bit as well, because it meant that Norris couldn't overtake me there. He wasn't allowed to. And that is Leclerc and Tsunoda DNFing from the race. Weekend to forget for Tsunoda for sure. He started well, but just not on the right strategy. And then, yeah, now the race is over. I wonder what happened here. So this is Charles Leclerc. He had a mechanical failure, which saw him out of the race. And then what happened to Tsunoda? Where did he get involved here? I see. So one of the Red Bulls moving out of the way, going slowly. Tsunoda tries to swerve around him and just completely misjudges it and goes into the back of, I assume, Gasly. And yeah, that is a weird one that's happened there. We move now on to lap 27. You can see Verstappen has made his way up into P2, but I am just about maintaining a gap to him that means he is out of my DRS range. which is good, because I don't want him in my DRS range. Otherwise, I think this will be the end of the chance of me winning this race. So we're going to try and hold on for everything we're worth. Meanwhile, Norris putting pressure on Dragovic, who amazingly is still holding on to the podium for this long. It feels like Dragovic is really, really desperate to get this podium here in Mexico. But Norris, you can see now, has managed to gap him by quite a lot. I don't know if Dragovic has got some kind of issue or something like that, or whether he just went wide at a corner or something like that, because he lost a lot of time to Norris after Norris managed to get past. And now I think Norris is going to try and catch back up to Verstappen, maybe get past him and try and make a late play for the lead. But we are going to do everything we can to stop him from doing that. Dragovic has also fallen behind Ricciardo now as well, so this is very interesting. So this is Verstappen and Norris, the battle for P2. And actually, Verstappen had a bit of a moment there, maybe a spin, not quite sure what happened, and Norris went straight into the back of him, and that has actually spelled the end of Norris's Grand Prix. It's over for him. He's got too much damage to continue. He's had to pull off to the side of the road, and that is the end of Norris's race. And now, as is tradition, we are looking at Zhou Guanyu, and I don't think any of you will be surprised to learn what is about to happen. That's right, he's had a mechanical failure and he is out of the race. I mean, come on. It's just predictable at this point. I feel like he doesn't retire. He doesn't not retire from any Grand Prix at this stage. And yeah, I mean, after that Verstappen mistake, that put him a long way behind me. And it meant that in the end, we were able to round the final few corners, get the daytime fireworks going off for us. And yeah, I mean, it was pretty straightforward. Dragovic not quite on the podium, very close to Ricciardo there, but he's going to miss out. And we are going to cross the line to take P1 in the Mexico Grand Prix and make up a massive margin on Alexander Albon in the championship. We've cut his lead down from 53 points to, I think, 28 points, and that is a much more manageable gap to try and overcome in 3 races. It might not be possible, but it's certainly a damn sight more possible.
Victory, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, staying out of trouble was probably the most important factor here. In the race where half the field weren't classified at the checkered flag, you were able to guarantee a good result by basically keeping the car running. With their pace and a decent strategy as well, I don't think the race was ever really in doubt.
The faces on our top 3 look so incredibly happy as they make their way up to the podium. A much-deserved victory and a brilliant performance from them all.
Hell yeah, it was a brilliant performance. I think I did pretty well there. I think I showcased good pace. You know, I was never really in a straight fight for the lead apart from on a couple of occasions. But generally speaking, I think I showcased good pace. And I think I was a deserving winner of that Grand Prix. I don't think I was really touchable as far as other cars were concerned. I don't think they could really get near me. And I mean, this is huge for the championship, and maybe we're not quite out of it yet.
Well, not the result our points leader would have wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. So let's review the updated driver standings. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
Nothing can challenge the leaders in the Constructors' Championship at this point. But with that result, the sport's newest team can no longer be touched at the top of the table. What an incredible journey this has been for a team many had written off a short time ago. They are the Formula One World Champions. Meanwhile, a strong weekend from Red Bull this time out, and they improved their position in the championship. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
I mean, this is just absolute craziness going on in Constructors' Championship right now. Not only is there a 3-way fight for P2, which might be becoming a 2-way fight at this stage, I would say, because I think McLaren might be out of that P2 fight. But there's also a fight a little bit further down for that P6 spot, or is it P7? I'm not sure. Between a few teams as well. It seems like was it Alpine? No, it is P6, isn't it? Because there's 4 teams involved in the fight between Alpine, Aston Martin. Who else is involved there? AlphaTauri and Haas. Those teams are so close together in the championship. 4 points separates those 4 teams, with 3 of them tied on points at the moment. And yeah, I'd be curious to see who wins out in that one. But meanwhile, in the Drivers' Championship, yes, the gap has come down now, confirmed, to 28 points separating myself and Alex Albon, which means all I need is for him to have one more bad weekend, and suddenly I am right back in this. Not even like, you know, there's an outside chance of me being in it. I could legitimately be in with a really good shot of winning the championship for the 4th time in a row, and denying Alex Albon that first Drivers' Championship title that honestly you'd have to say he probably deserved this season with the form that he's shown throughout the season. Yes, he had a very embarrassing mistake here in the Grand Prix today, but I mean, generally speaking, I would say that the form that he has shown throughout the course of the season has been better than mine. You know, he's been better in a range of different conditions, whereas I've only really been able to perform in the dry. Even at Grand Prix you would expect me to perform at, sometimes I've been quite underwhelming this season. Just generally speaking, I think, you know, Albon would be the deserving champion unless I put in an absolutely Herculean effort in these last 3 races. We have Portugal, we've got Brazil, and we've got Abu Dhabi to close off the season. I know I can win all of these Grand Prix because I've done it before, but that doesn't mean that Alex Albon isn't going to give me a bloody good fight about it. And I mean, once again, amazingly, because I know how good I can be at Portugal, and Brazil is something of a stronghold of mine as well. I think there is a really good chance, once again, that no matter what happens, no matter which one of us wins it, this championship could be going down to the wire for the 4th year in a row. And once again, I will never, in my entire F122 career, have had a championship that I've been in contention for where it's been wrapped up before the final race. But it could still be, because Alex Albon could completely walk me in these next 2 Grand Prix. I would say there is actually an outside chance that he wraps it up in the next Grand Prix. Is there? No, he's 28 points ahead, right? And you can get 8 points in the sprint. So there's no chance for him to wrap it up in Portugal, but there is a chance that he could wrap it up in the sprint race in Brazil. So we're going to have to give it absolutely maximum attack for these final 3 race weekends if we want to win this championship. I think we can do it, but it's not going to be easy. But that is going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.